everyone, and welcome to This Day. It's Saturday, June 1st, and I'm your host, Bobby Higgins. So happy to be here on Saturday and the beginning of the month. We have a great show coming your way today. We have Molly Lynch with Irvine Barclay Theater. She's the artistic director of the NCI Discovery 2024, and she's here to tell us about this special project that supports the dance community, not only here locally, but also across the nation. After that, Grace Carpenter and Dan Daly join us with the Fit Brain Club. They're here to tell us about the speaker at their next meeting who has some really good information. Everyone should learn about dementia and the other diseases under its umbrella. And now let's take a look at today's Stay Informed. Third Mutual and United Mutual, the boards are calling for interested parties to submit candidate applications for the 2024 annual election. You can get your application and the instructions here in the community center. You'll have until June 28th to submit for United Mutual, and then until July 3rd to submit for Third Mutual. And now let's take a look outside at the weather. It's still cloudy out there, but it will clear off and it'll be mostly sunny today. Tomorrow on Sunday, we'll have morning clouds and then it'll gradually clear to sunny. On Monday, it'll be mostly sunny skies. It should be a pleasant and comfortable weekend with temperatures in the mid-70s. And now let's take a look at the sunrise and sunset. This is a beautiful picture by Cole Young taken in San Clemente. Just beautiful skies out there. Your sunrise at 5:42 a.m. this morning, and your sunset will be at 7:57 p.m. tonight. Stay with us, because up next we have Irvine Barclay Theater. We'll be back. Don't change that dial. Welcome back to This Day. Joining us now is Molly Lynch, an award-winning choreographer and artistic director with over 35 years of experience creating, producing, and presenting dance. So welcome, Molly. It's so nice to meet you. Tell me a little bit about your background and how you got involved in dance.
Well, my parents started me in ballet lessons when I was young, and it just took. I just loved doing the dancing and the physical activity. And so I continued dancing, and then I went on and danced professionally with the Louisville Ballet. And then later I went back to the university and got my bachelor's degree and my master's degree at UC Irvine. And then I ran a ballet company for 16 years, and then I've been at UC Irvine for the past 18 years teaching.
Wow. How did you know that this could become a career?
Well, I didn't know when I started,
yeah.
But I gradually, as you go and it becomes a passion, and you just want to do more of it and stay involved with it. And I love the process of working with dancers and choreographers, so you just continue down that path.
Tell me, why did you create this event, or how did it all come about?
I actually started something similar when I was with Ballet Pacifica, and it was called the Pacifica Choreographic Project at the time. It was modeled after South Coast Repertory's New Scripts readings, where you have the process of reading a play that's not quite complete, and then seeing it and having the audience give feedback. And I thought, how can we do this in dance, where we give a choreographer the studio space and the dancers to work with to be able to develop some new work, and then provide them an opportunity to perform that, whatever they have created, and then give them feedback afterwards. And when I left Ballet Pacifica, a group of community members came to me and said, we'd like to see this continue. How can we produce this independently? And so I started working with the university for studio space and the Irvine Barclay Theater for the theater space, and then a group of community members who helped me raise the money to be able to produce the project.
Wow.
And it's all really about providing choreographers an opportunity to have a studio, have dancers with a non-competitive, non-pressured environment to create something of their choosing. So they select the music, they select the dance style, and then we produce whatever they create over the 3-week period.
Oh, how neat! So interesting, and I bet it must be so rewarding to see like day one and then have it all come together.
Yeah, day one, everybody's shaking hands and just getting to meet each other because we bring in 4 choreographers from around the country, and they don't necessarily know each other. And we also hire 16 professional ballet dancers from different companies. And they oftentimes don't know each other either. Mm-hmm. And so it's sort of a meet and greet on the first day, and we divide up the teams with the choreographers, and then they start to work. And so they're getting to know each other, and they're starting to be creative and collaborating together, and it's a really interesting process, and it's wonderful to watch how they all become sort of an ensemble and work together and become a community in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
So it's really very rewarding to see the end product.
Yeah, well, when you have that passion together, right, and that desire, that working together, yeah, mm-hmm. I would imagine that's a very bonding experience.
Yeah.
How do you choose your dancers and your choreographers? Like, how do you know who to select or to offer the opportunity to?
Well, the choreographers usually hear about it sort of word of mouth, and they contact me. I have a website, and they'll contact me, and then I'll reach out to choreographers that are interested or that I have been interested in, because I also read articles in the New York Times and magazines and such about choreographers that are developing new work. And so I'll reach out to them and ask them to apply, give them a deadline. They apply with videotapes of a couple of different pieces that they've done. They don't have to submit a proposal for what they want to do during the project. I want them to feel free and open to do whatever strikes them when they get here.
Okay.
So it's not a pre-planned kind of premiere or something like that. And so this year I had about 104 choreographers apply for the 4 spots. So there's a lot of videos to watch and select from that.
So this is really well known in the dance community then.
Yes, and I think through word of mouth and choreographers hearing about it, either through dancers who've participated or through other choreographers who've participated. And I try to have a variety of choreographers. I look at the kind of style that they have been working in and what I think they might be doing next in their trajectory of their choreography, and try to have a kind of variety so that the audience will also have a variety to see as well, although I have no idea what they're going to create when they're here.
Right.
And then once I've selected the choreographers, I have dancers also apply, and they submit a video with their dancing in a couple of different styles of works. And I review those videos and select the 16 dancers, 8 men and 8 women, to participate in the project. And I will have about half of the dancers returning from past years and half of them new. Okay. So there's a kind of bring along the new group and help each other get acclimated to the process and all of that. But I never have a dancer stay with the project for more than 3 years. It's usually 1 to 2 years.
Okay.
If it all works out.
So interesting. Yeah, it's really interesting. And so you said they can develop whatever type of dance they want. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, is it usually in the ballet genre or?
Yeah, and that's one of my goals, is to try to support ballet choreographers. And so I select ballet dancers, professional ballet dancers from different companies, like Richmond Ballet or in Indianapolis or Ballet Austin. So they come from different companies throughout the United States. So they have a strong ballet background. But the choreographers, I'm interested if they want to work with ballet dancers, but they don't necessarily have to do something that's classical ballet. If they can work with the ballet dancers, it can be barefoot, it can be in socks, it can be in ballet shoes, it can be on point.
Okay.
So it's their choosing in whatever direction that they think that they want to be going in terms of the development of their choreography and their journey in this.
Wonderful. So tell us about some of the accolades since the inception of NCI.
Well, we've had like over 76 choreographers work with us. Over 169 dancers have worked with us. We've had dancers from like 50 plus companies. be participating. I think about half of the pieces that we have developed or started at the choreography project have gone on to be performed with other companies throughout the United States and abroad.
Yeah, that's incredible. That tells you something right there about the work that's coming out of this.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And I've also seen some of the choreographers that have worked with us in NCI go on to work with companies that maybe are represented by the dancers that have participated. So there's a lot of networking that happens between the 4 choreographers, but also between the dancers themselves and the dancers and the choreographers and their companies.
Yeah.
So it's been really interesting to see dancers and choreographers that have participated here, and then you'll see the choreographers show up at one of the dancers' companies doing a new piece for Richmond Ballet or something like that. So it's really a very strong community of dance, ballet dancers and choreographers, and networking together as well.
I imagine this is similar, like in other businesses, there's no better advertising than word of mouth.
Right.
This is kind of the same way. It's like you've worked with somebody and then you're like, hey, you have to meet this person. They were incredible.
Yeah.
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 Oh, that's
We
so
have
neat.
one great story. A choreographer named Ma Kung participated early on in the project, and he did a piece called French Twist, and that piece was picked up by Smuin Ballet in San Francisco. Ma was from Tulsa Ballet. And then 2 of the dancers that participated in that project went back to their home company at Richmond Ballet and said, oh, you really ought to see this guy's choreography. So their director asked Ma to come and choreograph a piece for Richmond Ballet. And then just this last year, Ma has become the new artistic director for Richmond Ballet.
Oh, wow.
So there's just all that interconnection and pieces going on to different companies and dancers connecting and everything that makes me, it wasn't something that I had even thought would happen of this, but it's just how far it's spread and reached out into the dance community.
That's incredible. Tell us about the choreographers that were chosen this year.
We have 4. They range from Charles Askegaard, who had been a principal dancer with San Francisco Ballet and also with New York City Ballet. We have Donna Salgado, who has her own contemporary ballet company in New York City. And we have Daeyoung Young, who is with Oklahoma City Ballet. She had been a principal dancer there and has been choreographing for that company now for a couple of years. And then we have Cherise Barton, who is more of what I would consider a storyteller in her dance works, and she's from Los Angeles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I will say we have 3 women choreographers and 1 man. I've always tried to have at least 1 woman because the data has shown that there are fewer women choreographers in ballet. And so one of my goals, personal goals, has been to try to help support women choreographers in ballet. So I try to have at least 1 woman, and this year we have 3.
This year they dominated.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing this with us. This amazing. I can't wait to see it, and I'll give the information here in just a moment about how people can get tickets. But you know, it just sounds like an incredible showcase to see, and so I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
So if you would like to come see the performance, NCI Discovery 2024 will be on Saturday, July 27th at 8 p.m. at Irvine Barclay Theater. Tickets range from $20 to $60, and you can purchase tickets online at thebarclay.org. So stay with us because we will have more of This Day coming up right after this.
The King Living mid-year sale is on now. 5 decades of Australian furniture design, crafted for a lifetime of comfort. So why buy ordinary furniture when you can come home to King? Sale on now.
Welcome back to This Day. Joining me now with the Fit Brain Club is Grace Carpenter and Dan Daly. Welcome, guys. Always a pleasure to see you.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah, are you guys
Good
nice
to
and
be here.
refreshed after the Memorial Day weekend?
It felt good having an extra day.
Yes, it is nice. Although I think I got too used to it and sleeping in because now I'm tired. So I know you guys always have such good information to share with the residents, and today is no exception. And it can be a difficult topic, but education definitely helps. So tell us about today's topic.
Well, today's topic with Dr. Kent Papard is about evaluation. So when the clients go to see him, they're usually referred by a neurologist. He's the #1 evaluator who's referred by Saddleback Neurology, all of them. I mean, everybody refers to Dr.
Throughout Orange County.
Everybody, he's fabulous. So what we like this time, because we've had him before, he's going to do Alzheimer's disease versus frontal temporal lobe dementia versus Lewy body. And that's the kicker, right? Everybody needs that information.
He'll give the definition of each one. Each one represents a certain percentage of dementia. Like Alzheimer's is about 64% of all dementia cases.
Okay.
And Lewy body is up to 25%. And then frontotemporal is about 5 to 7%.
Okay.
And so it varies, but each one of them have really severe side effects.
And Alzheimer's is the wasting. We get that wasting, and some of them last, like, remember Ben Allen's wife, 12 years. Whereas Lewy body can go fast. My husband went really fast with Lewy body because of the amyloid proteins. You think of Robin Williams and all of those. I mean, yeah, they go fast.
So dementia, not all patients who have dementia will get Alzheimer's. So
no,
Alzheimer's.
Dementia is the umbrella.
Really an umbrella
Think of the
term.
umbrella.
Got it.
And under that umbrella, you have different forms of dementia.
So the most prominent one is the Alzheimer's.
Right.
And then less common is the Lewy body and the frontal temporal. So what are like the early signs of each? How do you know that, hey, this is something we should probably look into?
Lewy body, they have problems concentrating, real problems. And the other signs will be they'll swear at very inopportune times. They may steal some things.
Aggression.
It could be a value of high value or low value. And those are the signs, early signs.
Okay.
And you got to correct
That's a little
them.
bit different than just dementia.
And both
stuff.
visual and auditory hallucinations.
Yeah, that was crazy to hear. And I know you have mentioned this before on the show, but yeah, I guess I just didn't totally understand that when you think of hallucinations, you think it's a visual, something you're seeing, but actually it can affect other senses.
Yes.
Right.
And the olfactory, that is so rare. And my neighbor had olfactory. Remember, I got accused of smoking marijuana, that I was killing him. I mean, his wife sent me email after email for a year. I couldn't get them to go get a diagnosis because she said, your husband's the one who has dementia. My husband had Lewy body. He was aggressive. Everybody knew that Steve had something. We didn't know it was Lewy body because Lewy body kind of gets under Alzheimer's. First they do the Alzheimer's, usually. It's usually progression. And then they get the problems in concentration, spatially, driving, everything, the ordinary signs.
Yeah, they have visual, spatial challenges.
Okay.
The one common denominator is memory loss.
Yes.
Yeah.
That applies to every dementia.
Okay.
Some more severe. Short-term memory loss is a huge challenge for somebody with Alzheimer's. Big time.
And that happens, you see that happening like, oh, left my keys in the front door, but didn't remember where I left my keys.
Right.
Well, that's normal signs of aging. We do that.
Right, yeah, it's like, how do you know that, okay, wait a minute, this might just be forgetfulness.
Right. But how many times when it happens do we say, uh-oh, we do a check, right? Uh-oh, am I getting Alzheimer's? What's happening? Do I need to see
However,
a neurologist?
if you can retrace your steps
Yeah.
and find those keys, that's not a problem. That's unrelated to Alzheimer's or any kind of dementia.
Okay. And so with the frontal temporal, tell us, now does this one have different signs compared to the Lewy body?
It affects the nerve cells.
Yeah, they'll have the same similar problems as far as lack of concentration, dozing off inappropriately, and you know, very similar early signs.
Okay.
But frontotemporal dementia, usually ex-athletes could have that from boxing.
Oh.
Boxers, NFL players, retired players.
Yeah.
They have cranial damage to the front part of the forehead, and
the nerve cells are damaged with them.
then along with that, the nerve cells as well.
So is it usually an accident that maybe brings that on later on? You know, having that impact through sports or something like that?
Could be, depending upon the length of the time they competed. Constant trauma to the brain is going to result in some kind of dementia.
Okay.
And it's like the NFL players.
Yeah.
It's constant contact, and same with hockey.
Yeah.
You know.
Lots
But
of
all
very contact
three-
sports.
Right, but all three affect their reasoning ability and their
Right.
ability to make decisions. That's why the driving is an early symptom of all of them. You know,
Yeah.
it's so hard. I always say the dividing lines are all illusions because in the end, they're incurable.
Right. Right.
And it's some are like the long goodbye, perhaps with Alzheimer's,
Right.
and then the fast goodbye. It's a dreadful disease.
One of the things that Dr. Papard will emphasize, and that is the fact that a lot of families have a tendency to not face reality.
We
And
all
what will
we're in
happen
denial.
is
Yeah.
that they will see characteristics of early onset, and they don't want to admit it because of the love that they have for mom or dad. And so by the time that loved one gets assessed, a clinical assessment done by a neurologist or anybody, like Dr. Papard,
Yep.
it's advanced. It's no longer early onset. It's advanced.
Yep.
And that's the problem. Number one major challenge is lack of education. A lot of family members don't want to, their fear is tremendous.
Because there's actually things you can do early
Yes.
on to help
Yes.
slow it down, or medications to help with it.
Well,
Well-
don't take Prevagen. You know, that's on television every day, every
No,
night.
that's a
That
crap.
is such a hoax. And
Okay.
people are wasting their money. Lawsuits against it. It's so bad.
Okay,
But
okay.
but everybody wants a glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
And then there could be the placebo effect for people,
Right.
because I hear people at Costco buying it and they're saying it's working, and I say, oh, it must be the placebo effect.
Yeah, I think it's more of they feel good about taking
Something.
medication.
Hope.
And,
Yeah.
You buy hope in a
hope
bottle.
is probably the best name for any drug.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
But some of the medications, they're called cholinesterase inhibitors. And Aricept is one of them. Exelon is another. And Rexidine is a third one. And they will increase the alertness of the patient.
Oh, okay.
It's not a cure-all, but it's very symptomatically effective. So
definitely something that can help, and definitely the earlier you get intervention, the more.
No question
and that's
about
why
it.
they need to come to the meetings, because mostly I think it's a Cinderella complex with women who come to the meetings. I always like to address this question. They'll say, my husband's driving is terrible and he won't get evaluated and all of this. And I say, have you initiated driving? No, my husband's always, we don't want to drive. They've got to step up.
Worst case
Right?
scenario.
Right? Step up to the plate, girl. You got to do this. Then I tell them, I went through this.
Yeah.
And then you get doing the fighting with the keys. Even when they're advanced, they're still, I think it's in their DNA with the power.
Right.
I had caregivers, the male couldn't hold him back when he wanted those keys. And it's horrible. You just got to get medications to calm them down.
Yeah.
And that's how it ends up.
Yeah, my mom had years with my dad with the car, and it was a big problem that he just, and he had been tested, and they said, no, you cannot drive, and he was convinced that they were just doing it to him, and it was the instructor's fault.
Probably the best step forward is to have a memory test done at the age of 60.
Okay.
To see if there's
So you
anything
kind of have a base.
hereditary going on there. But the sooner it's detected, the better off you get. You can be as well as your family.
Yeah,
and Saddleback Neurology doctors have trials, clinical trials, where like my husband got free PET scans 10 years ago. Free, that was 6,000. They're probably up to 10,000 now. So if you're in a clinical trial and you go early, that's really good help, wonderful support for you.
Okay, well, wonderful. Well, thank you guys for being here today.
Good to see you again.
Giving us this information. So good to see you too. So come join the Fit Brain Club for their next meeting. It's featuring Dr. Kent Peppard, clinical psychologist specializing in neurological assessments. This meeting is on Monday, June 10th at 10 a.m. in the Performing Arts Center, Clubhouse 3, Dining Room 2. Come early, enjoy music and refreshments before the meeting begins. For more information, you can email Grace at carpenter41mg@gmail.com. Stay with us. We have more of This Day coming up right after this.
Hi there, I'm Bob Eubanks. Remember me? I'm the king of whoopee. And you're watching Village Television. But everybody does.
Welcome back to This Day. Let's take a look at today's movie presentation here on Channel 6. Today's movie is The American President, starring Michael Douglas and Annette Bening, and it's being brought to you by Harvard Eye Associates. Looking ahead on Monday on This Day, we have the African American Heritage Club with Annie McCary, and also the National Alliance on Mental Illness of Orange County. So make sure to tune back in for that. It'll definitely be some good information. And that's it for us today. Thank you so much for watching This Day. I'm Bobby Higgins. Have a great weekend, everyone.